lengths of a drag strip. Now, a quarter-mile drag strip is 1,320 feet. Exactly. How many drag strips in this world do you think are slightly off? By a foot or two, maybe 10 inches, maybe 2 inches, maybe 8, I don't know, maybe even 7. But it's one of those things where it's like, that little bit will add a lot. And that's where it really starts to become like, how do you measure a drag strip perfectly? I was like, do I get one of those walking things and walk the drag strip and then walk back, see what they are? Like, even so much as, so, it's like a rectangle. If it's slightly skewed either direction, then one lane can be shorter than the other almost. And we're talking just a little bit. They'd be the same length, but I mean, I guess not really, because they would have to both be skewed together. But if one is just like, one's straight, one's a little bent, it could so easily be off a few inches. And that starts to wonder. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's really likely that could happen. Now, I'm not saying that happened here. I'm not saying that, it is happening or pointing at a drag strip. I've heard rumors all the time of drag strips being short or longer, or, especially when you think about like Europe, when they race like 402 meters, but they're actually 400 meters, but they're not, because 400 meters is like 1,317 feet. So then it's actually 402 meters, but then that gets you really close. It's like 402.3 meters. Gets you really close. So you see like Santa Pod and you're like, is that regulation? Or are you guys just jerking me around here? You look at like Australia, like Sydney Dragway, some of those like major facilities that have like big records come out, like the GTR guys in Australia. I bet you that thing's short. I bet you that thing's $3.99. You Australian guys know. I ain't trusting it. But it starts to really make you wonder. Maybe the best way is you get like one of those guys with the surveys that do it at, like random streets and stuff. You always see them like standing in the intersection of like a major highway, and they're like looking through their binocular trying to see like what the grade is or whatever they're looking at. I imagine those guys probably have a pretty precise way of measuring a quarter mile. I always heard Palm Beach International Raceway was a little short. That was just something I always heard. Obviously, I have no way to know this for certain. I tried using Google Maps a little bit, where there's like Google measurements, and you can kind of plot things. But again, that's so tough because each lane is a little different. Where the lights are is hard to tell from the top view from Google Earth. But it makes me want to, maybe this is autism, but measure every drag strip I go to and start, doing that as it feels like the same energy as getting excited about a train is like getting excited about measuring the length of a drag strip. Does that make sense? Like it like tingles the same spot, maybe, You guys get what I'm saying with that? But it starts to make me really question. I don't trust these drag strips. How could I? They're so easy to screw it up, it seems. But you would also notice as a drag racer, right? I mean, would you notice a foot? Like, how much would that change your ET is 1 foot? A lot? A little bit? I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I know grade of elevation is definitely something. If it's going uphill or downhill, that happens. I think Thunder Valley in Bristol is downhill from the starting line. Like straight up, you put a ball on it and it's going to roll down from the starting line downhill. So that makes sense. And then, something like Bandamere, I don't know how flat that was. Maybe it was very flat. I don't know. Their staging lanes were downhill, and then their shutdown was uphill, so I'd imagine there's some grade there. But that would play a huge role in how much, how fast your car is. Just some thoughts. I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I crazy? Should I just drive the quarter mile and stop thinking about feet? Stop thinking about inches? I'm not thinking about feet, but the actual measurement of feet, not just the feet. I did get into a heated argument with all of Europe lately when I made fun of them for using feet and miles for their drag racing, and they all got mad at me, saying we only use it because you guys need to see it that way because you're so uneducated, and Americans don't know what they're doing, and they use feet and inches, and they don't use the metric system. And people started talking about the moon landing, which is probably fake anyways, but they started bringing up countries that use the metric system that haven't been to the moon, which is like all of them, and countries that have been to the moon, which is like the Imperial system. And some people got slightly offended. I think it's just the world we live in today, unfortunately, that people are easily offended by something like, hey, why do you guys drag race in a quarter mile if you use the metric system? How dare you? And then they put kilometers per hour up there, which is like, come on. All the way or nothing. One or the other. You're not allowed to be just your toes in the water. You got to get all the way in the water. Use mile per hour, which is a little easier to calculate. Even when they use 402 meters, which many, that was the other option, was the other thing that people attacked me over. They're like, no. We race 402 meters. I'm like, okay, but where did that number come from? Why 402? It's like, well, it translates to 1,320 feet. It's like, so you just use a quarter mile. And what do you race eighth mile? They're like, oh, it's 201. It's like, where do you think those numbers came from? Did they just pull them out of the sky? I don't know what a whole slip looks like, though. Full disclosure. Does it say 60 foot? Does it? Does it say, what would 60 feet be? 30 meters, 20 meters? Is that what that is? I don't know what 60 feet is. 60 feet to meters. Okay. 60 feet to meters. 18.2. Okay. I was pretty off. It's 18.2. Is that what it says on their time slip? 18 meters? 18.2 meters? What does it say? Somebody send me a European time slip. I want to see one. Multiple European time slips from the greatest sport in the history of the world. Drag racing. Quarter mile.